Hello there. This is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. I am going to teach you how to create this explosion stationery box with the Rustic Harvest Suite collection, which is what you're seeing now, is my sample. It's gorgeous, it's fun to make, and a great, great, great present. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But this is what we're going to do together today, and that is from the Santa's Express Suite collection. And you can use this with any of our suite collections. It's easier and better that way rather than a bundle. So that is what we are looking like so far. My sample cards, I have an A2, a 3x3, and we are creating a tag out of that as well. I didn't make them too detailed, but I think that they're attractive. And again, it's a great gift. Got to have the matching envelopes and everything like that. And I made the insides pretty much the same. And I enclosed, I think it was 3 or 4 of each, or is it 5? I don't know. But that was the 3x3, and that was our tag that we created there. I think it was 4. Anyhow, you'll figure it out. That is the box that we are going to be making, and when you pull the lid off, it just kind of, explodes, but not really. But that's where the name came from. It looks like I made 3 cards. Yeah, it's hard to tell, but you can fit as much in there as you want. I used a lot of, not a lot, but designer series paper from the Rustic Harvest Suite. And when you want to put it back together, that's it. Now, if you take one of our 8x10 albums, that would squeeze perfectly right in the middle. And they could use the Memories and More cards for additional enclosures. So that is a look at the Rustic Harvest Suite collection that is coming out in a few short weeks. And I use the little leaves in that package to do the 3x3. That's the Hello Harvest stamp set that comes along with it. Great line art images. And those are the dies. The pumpkins over there on the left and the little, I don't know what they call that. You know how you pick the pumpkin up? Where I put the linen thread. I die cut those in, I think, green paper on the card, and you'll see. So part of this suite collection here is we brought back our embossing buddy. We have a new tray there with in that screws off rather than leaving it open like it did before. And that comes with some really great accessories too. You get these tweezers. They are awesome. Nothing sticks to them, and they are strong. I've been using them more than anything else, and they're fantastic. And then you also get this brush where you can like brush off embossing powder from inside of the tray or off the cardstock or whatnot. And you can tell I've used our designer series paper quite a bit from just by looking at how much paper I'm going to show you. So that is what it is looking like. And the colors of that, if I remember correctly, pumpkin pie, Mary Merlot, I want to say crushed curry, of course, basic black, and mossy meadow, and Cajun craze. Or is it pumpkin pie or Cajun craze? I don't know. I gotta tell you, I filmed this video 2 weeks ago, and I'm just now doing the voiceover, so I'm like trying not to look too, like I don't know what's going on, but you know how that goes. So that is the rest of the designer series paper. Now this suite, those 2 patterns are my favorite. This suite does not include the Memories and More cards, but remember, you can create this with any of our suite collections. And I say that because you want the designer series paper. So also included is 12x12 basic black cardstock in that suite collection, which is, it's huge. And the Stampin' Express, that one's way big. So when I cut that, I wanted to make sure everything was lined up across there. And you can add as much designer series paper as you want or don't want to have. It's really up to you. And those sticky notes I put down there, they're from something like in 2017. I just had to lay down. Now what I was showing you there was I cut out an insert there from the first sheet of designer series paper, but we're going to move on. That is the Santa's Express Suite collection. and that is the ribbon that comes with it. And it's very, very easy to tie, as you can tell. That is Santa's Delivery. It's a photopolymer stamp set. Great, great, great line art. You can color with that. We have our markers, our blends, our colored pencils. There is Santa's Trains dies. Lots of standalone dies there, especially that little wreath and the bow and the little train tracks there that you see. And it comes with these stars. That would be great for Halloween too, by the way, because we have something out like that last year. Kind of close, but not quite. Those are the memories and more cards. And then you have the cards and envelopes too on top of it. So you have the Poppy Parade, and then we have the green, and then the coordinating envelopes. And those cards are 4 by 6. They're larger than the A2. But again, everything coordinates, and we are going to be zipping through the memories and more cards real quick. Now, that is wood, and I can't wait to really tear that apart. You can color it, emboss it. I mean, the options are incredible. And then you have these clear plastic overlays. You get like 4 or 5 of them. And if you put one across a dark sheet of cardstock, you can really see how they're going to pop out or pop up, which I'm doing right now. I wish I would have sped this up a little bit, but yeah. I believe that Shaded Spruce and Poppy Parade, Petal Pink, Pool Party. We have stickers there. And I want to say Granny Apple Green is in there as well. I obviously don't have my catalog in front of me to tell you all the colors yet. But this is why I'm saying, hey, go ahead and maybe turn this into a December daily album, because you do have those kind of stickers that you can put on top of any one of our cards and enclose into the our scrapbook notebook, so to speak, and the plastic covers that go over it. And you can tell I don't have my catalog in front of me. And I am so sorry, but I have to get this done. So I did use that on the front of our box that we're going to be creating. And I'm just going to finish up and take you through the rest of these cards. So while I'm showing you the rest of these cards, I did pull out my catalog in the meantime. And the colors in this are Poppy Parade, Petal Pink, Granny Apple Green, Evening Evergreen, Shaded Spruce, and Mint Macaron. Now, what I forgot to include in showing you part of, isn't that so cute, of this sweet collection is there's 2 mini embossing folders of the charming landscapes, and they're super cute. It looks like a little mountains and trees with stars, and then like a Christmas village. Those are the 3 by 4 cards, and you get 5 of each design. So I'm going to show you, front and back of each real quick. And I'm trying to think. I know in those dies, there's like 2 signs in there. You get 2 of that cute little penguin. And remember, another thing is in these trains, in the back there where there's space, we have another stamp set. And yeah, here I am again losing my memory. Something about a basket, and there's hearts in there and other things that you could also use. Yeah, I sped it up to put in the back of that little caboose there. And that's of course an option. This designer series paper is fantastic. I love how things like that are lined up by 3 inches so you don't waste any of the paper. And the presents, I mean, there's a lot of word DSP in here, which I love. And you can use the dies to cut out those images. Not the one on the left there, but look how they're multicultural this year. And I've never seen that before. You have black, brown, and white. And I think that's pretty cool. So that's what our DSP looks like. Now, you want to grab your Simply Scored. I have a piece of Poppy Parade 12 by 12 designer series paper there. And I'm going to give you the scoring measurements right now. So the first score is going to be at 1 inch, and this is where I messed up. So don't pay attention to that. 1 inch, 3 inches, 9 inches, and then 10 and a quarter inches. and then you want to rotate it 90 degrees and score it 5 inches and 7 inches. That is going to be our box. Now, a lot of people like to fold it up, fold all the lines in before they start cutting. I'm old. I see better with the lines not cut. So that is how I cut everything. And I will have a chart to all of this on my blog at cindybdesigns.com. And there'll be a link underneath this YouTube description to go ahead and take you to that. So I'm going to X out what we want to cut off there. And to begin with, it's just those 4. So you cut up, 1 row, 2 rows. And with them, I will go back and like miter it in a teeny tiny bit. And we're talking like a 64th of an inch or something like that, because I get that, neurotic about it. So I'm folding that up right there. And I have no idea why I'm doing it at that angle right there, because it's like the exact wrong one. Oh, now I do. It's coming back to me. I wanted to make sure, actually we're not cutting them up, we're folding those tabs up. I wanted to make sure that they fit in those score lines there, because when you try and put it all together at the end, it's going to mess you up, especially if you have adhesive on it. So that's why I kind of check it before and, try to avert disaster a little bit and making sure that everything works. So I think if I remember, the next thing I'm going to do is, probably, miter another edge there. But I believe I'm going to put tear and tape at the top of that score line, on the box where the X is, and at the bottom there to get it secured down. So what I'm doing right here, and again, listen to me rather than, because I think I'm just realizing, boy, you messed up. You want to take one, just one of the top of that, okay? Because we've already secured the inside flaps there. You want to cut 1 3/4 inch off of each side, off the end of it. And if it's easier for you to, use your scoring tool or whatever to give yourself a tick mark or whatnot, then go ahead and do that. So you only have to do it on one side, like just right up there at the top, and then leave the rest alone. So you have one, the bottom of it's bigger, because the big side is going to be the back of the box, and then that front there is you're going to fold it up, and that'll be the front where it like kind of comes open. But remember, that rustic box was the right way to do it. Yeah, great video, huh? Okay, for one of the pockets, next piece of paper is Poppy Parade, 8.5 across, 4 1/4 down. And you want to score that only on 3 sides, okay? At 1 1/4, and then flip it around 3 inches, another 90, and then 1 1/4 again. And the graph site, they'll have, on at my blog, they're going to have all this stuff like really nicely drawn out for you too, by the way. Way more professional. So I'm putting like little X marks there because I have to cut 2 of those corners off. And this is where I can like go in and cut it and just miter it right off the bat, rather than having to go back in, because I know that I'm going to have to, fold that up anyway. So I'm cutting it in right there, and you just want to do that on those 2 little boxes that you see at the very bottom. And before you adhere any of this, you want to use your liquid adhesive or whatever to get your designer series paper. But I think that we'll be getting to that really quick. I have no idea what I was doing there. Probably getting some kind of glue off I had left on my fingers. Okay, so I guess we're going to finish up this pocket. Look where I'm putting the adhesive. It's on the inside, or like right outside of the score lines there. And you know what? When I went to go put it in the box, I had like a little flap there. and I didn't like how that looked, so I ended up putting one at the bottom and then one right before the score line there. So I'm looking at that. That's a 12 by 12. And you already have the cue where to cut it right there at 3 inches automatically, and it's going to turn out perfectly. And that's what I used on this box because to me that saves a lot of designer series paper because I have exactly what I need on that little strip. So I end up shaving like maybe a quarter, eighth of an inch or so off of that. And I'm not going to, I can't really give you measurements because you need to like measure where you want your DSP on your own. But when I put this box together, I kept everything down to like an eighth of an inch rather than a quarter. So I'm putting on our liquid adhesive back there, and it looks super thick, but again, it's really not. It's just very squiggly lines. And you want to be careful with that because if you layer it on, it's going to warp your paper and the cardstock. And with something like this, you really don't have too much room for that. So I have my little, mini roller there. I call it a steamroller. And, made sure that was down. And that's where I realized, oh my gosh, what did I do? But I was out of 12 by 12 Poppy Parade, so I had to make it work for this video, right? So I'm peeling off the tear and tape there, and I'm putting it right up against that top score line like you see there. I'm folding it up, kind of winging it to make sure everything goes and get it right there. And see, remember before we only had the edge closest to the DSP adhered down rather than the back there. And that's what that flap was coming in. I mean, I'm neurotic about adhesive, but I don't think too much, even though I cut it. So I pull that off there, and you're going to see me fuss with this because, again, that neurotic thing. You want to get that side lined up perfectly on the inside and the outside, and it's tear and tape, and you kind of only have one shot at this a little bit. So I got that down, and I used my bone folder to make sure it was really down. And I'm peeling off the other side, and that generally goes in pretty easy. Yeah, that one does. There was like one pocket for the inside that you're going to see me struggle with. And that back pocket there, that's where the card's going to go, the A2 cards, like I showed you at the beginning of this video. And I had to go to the dentist today too, so yeah, I guess my left side is still kind of numb a little bit. Now I'm bringing in two other pieces of Poppy Parade cardstock. That's going to be our tag holder and the 3x3 card. One is going to be 4.5 by 2. And I'm going through super fast. That you want to score at 1/2, 1 inch, 3.5, and 4 inches. And the other piece is 5.5 by 2. And you want to score that at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 4.5, and 5 inches. So I already have my DSP cut and, measuring it all up and everything. I chose my designer series paper before I put this, before I started to assemble everything here, because I wanted, of course everything matches, but I wanted my patterns to be my patterns. Let's put it this way. So I'm getting down my designer series paper, and I think I messed up on that one a little bit. I'm not quite sure. No, okay, it went down. And now I'm getting all the scoring done, and I'm putting, yeah, see, that's how neurotic I'm about. It's tear and tape, okay? I want to put tear and tape at the end of all those tabs there, just that's all I need. And then get them all creased up. And these, I think that, like I told you, the last one I really struggled with. This part, I'm going to say honestly, it's kind of a pain a little bit, but it's worth it in the long run because it's a great gift. And we have so many sweet collections in the catalog that, you can use this for anything. So I'm pulling the tear and tape off of that. And it doesn't matter which side you put them on, but I put the larger one, the 5.5 by 2, over there on the left-hand side because I think it's kind of more aesthetic that way. That's where the 3x3 cards go. And then the other one will have our tags. And we have a ton of tags too. I used our tailor tags. I could have at 2 inches across. I could have gone to another tag that was wider, but I just didn't do it. And see me here struggling, struggling, struggling. It's like, oh my gosh, get it down, make sure everything's lined up in the right way. And I want to lay that down. You got to be really careful about these because if you don't lay them down the right way, you're going to get this bubble in the middle, and that's going to mess up your fold anyway because that's what happened with this one. No, it happened with the first one. This was actually my second one. So I blew two of them doing this before I got it down to the third one, which I had to use a different piece of 12 by 12 because I told you I ran out of the Poppy Parade. So yeah, paper crafting, right? This is where I really struggle. And again, I think that's where I got super neurotic about it because I didn't want to have that bubble at the front when I had the cuts right and everything like that, but the bubble was wrong. And this time I got the pockets right, but the cut was wrong. So I want to make sure I get that down real good. Use that bone folder, secure it, my fingers, whatever, and that did turn out. What I ended up doing in the long run was I also snuck a piece of tear and tape where you saw that right there in the middle real quick. Those, okay, I adhered the rest of my designer series paper down. Those are the Memories and More cards that was on the front there. And you can see as I fold it all up, this is not working so well for me. So, panel number 3. Oh, that is going to be the top of our box. That is going to be 10 3/8 by 6 3/8. And you want to score that at 2.5 and then 8 1/4. Flip it 90 degrees, and then you want to score it at 2 1/8 and then 4 1/4. And we are going to be doing the exact same thing with this, with a box that we did with our little card holders in there. But instead of cutting on 2 sides, we're going to be cutting on all 4. And again, I looked at my diagram that I had and I thought, I'm just going to mass do this. I'm cutting across like that on all 4 of them. All 4 of the squares are at the bottom. And then I'm cutting up just right there. And you always want to cut up the right way. Because when you put the tabs down, you might have an edge that won't have a reinforcement from a tab. Clear as mud. Oh gosh. Okay, so I am I'm creasing everything here. And then I'm going to lay down my adhesive. Actually, I'm not doing that. I'm going to test it and make sure everything lines up right as I fold it together. And I'm putting adhesive right where I'm putting it. I found that worked for me better than anything else for the most part. So I think here I start measuring my designer series paper a little bit. Yeah, I did. And then I adhered it. Now, when you cut your designer series paper and lay it down, watch your direction. Especially if you choose a pattern like this, because it does matter it just matters. So I'm peeling off that tear and tape and I have a tendency to fold in towards my left. Patting that down a little bit. And I did slow it down to just maybe catch my breath here a little bit and tell you more about that box. You saw how I decorated everything up. And again, you want to make sure everything lines up. I do have an 1/8 of an inch in between the cardstock and my designer series paper, so that's why you're seeing that there. I think it's kind of aesthetic. And every now and then I get like little parts of the DSP that pops up because I didn't put enough glue down in the corner or something like that. So I do end up going back and making sure that lays down correctly. But you can decorate this up any way you want. I mean, there's no right and there's no wrong. All I'm doing here basically is showing you how I put this together and the measurements, but the rest of it is up to you. And it's really not that hard to make. And that is what we are looking like. So I'm bringing the box in. You can tell my right tabs are way too short, and it pops on just like that. And I thought that was really cute. And you can stamp a sentiment in the front under Oh What Fun. But that's the end result. And again, you can do this with any of our sweet collections. I think you'll get more out of it if you use the memories and more cards that we have. That could be a gift in and of itself rather than tags and the cards or whatever. But again, that is up to you. And, I just kind of did the instruction there. So when you lay down that paper, you want to make sure that everything is lined up like that. And you can, will the envelopes fit in there? Yeah, no, not really. But the cards will, because that back pocket is 4x6, but everything else will. And we are at the home stretch right now. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Stop back by again soon. If you have any questions or whatever about this, shoot me off an email, Cindy@cindybdesigns.com, and I will see you again for the next video. Have a great day, and thank you so much for joining me.